Hey y'all, welcome back to the Black Legends Multi-City Virtual Book Tour. It's your girl, Afrikana Stories, and today we're bringing a powerful conversation all the way from Amsterdam. Today's session is a game changer because we're talking about something many of us need to discuss more openly: menopause and the broader challenges of women's health. It's a topic that's been hushed for too long, but not anymore. Our guest, Renee Waters, is here to share her incredible work through the Renaissance Period platform, which is all about destigmatizing these conversations, providing resources, and empowering women to navigate this journey with strength and support. From the creation of her new platform to advocating for women's rights and tackling systemic issues in healthcare, Renee is going to break it all down for us. Y'all, this session is about reclaiming our voices and fostering real societal change. So, sit tight and let's get into it with Renee Waters and the Renaissance Period. Hey, and I was so inspired. I created the Generational Flow Period Diaries, so we as girls and women can start documenting our period journey. Enough about me. Let's roll the tape.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Black Legends Multi-City Virtual Book Tour. We're on our next to the last stop. This is not the final stop, but actually this is the first stop internationally. I'm so super excited. We've had 4 phenomenal authors that came and they shared and they poured their hearts out. We gave away prizes. We've had some fun so far. Grab your favorite beverage because we're talking about menopause, the challenges like being in the boardroom. Don't click out. We really need you to hear us on this one. As a matter of fact, while I'm talking about it, we have also prepared a generational flow period diary. So even for the teenagers, we have a section where our daughters can talk to their fathers about their period, the questions they can ask, and help dads be involved. Dads, uncles, great uncles, granddads, be involved. It affects everybody in the family. If the woman don't feel good, hello, and all those mood swings, you'll know how to deal with that. So we're going to navigate through those challenges on this conversation. Grab your drinks. Let's get started. I have with me like the queen of Renaissance Period. Like I started this journey of my menopause journey and she helped me through, you need to try this, recipes on periods and how you can comfort yourself because we feel alone in this. We have to navigate this period journey, especially if you're having pain during your cycles, how to make yourself comfortable because getting that proper advice. And I'll tell you about my recent experience just a few days ago when I brought up perimenopause and the nurse looked at me like she didn't know what that word meant. Anyway, we're going to talk about all that. But first, let me introduce my mood and the thing. Like we are like twin souls here when we're talking about protecting women's rights. Yeah. The right to talk, voice, feel, ask for help, and demand it. Make your doctor pay attention to your pain. It just goes in one ear and out the other, and they give us things for symptom, but they don't really help the problem. So let's get into it. But before that, let me introduce to you Renee Waters. Now, all of you guys have been seeing me market the whole tour with Roxy. Roxy is the brainchild of Renee Waters. Now you get to see her face. She's not an avatar. For
real.
She has that sexy voice. You guys saw her on the live game show. We have a global flow trivia. If you haven't played it, go to the virtual room. You can win prizes. As a matter of fact, the period journals are the free prizes that you can win from playing the global flow trivia game. And it's a brainchild of Miss Renee Waters. What about the Renaissance Period?
Loaded, robust. Thank you for having me and going on the journey of the Renaissance Period with me as you were going through menopause.
Yeah,
so I'm the prototype. Yeah, you're patient zero. It's about beginnings. The Renaissance Period came about during one of my rebirths. Renaissance is French for reborn. My rebirth was after giving birth and breastfeeding. My period came back. We all go through these things alone because we are individuals. And so our individual experiences can be very unique, but there is still a collective community when it comes to those who bleed, but also those who don't, because those who don't have to witness those of us who do bleed and are still affected by it. The Renaissance period was born out of the fact that my period was coming back on, wasn't considered normal, if there is such a thing, because of medical conditions that I have, which we can get into in a bit. But it was out of the need of saying, I, for myself, know what I need for my body when I bleed, and I don't see it on the shelves. How do I go off and go get what I need? How do I communicate to my partner what I need, or what is likely not the end of the world, but it's not just a matter of my comfort. It is a matter of my health, and it is a matter of my being. If I can't function, how am I going to care for my family? How am I going to participate in society? And so there is there's a theory that will connect the dots, and that's what the platform is, the Renaissance period. After a bubonic plague, everyone is now, what population is left that was not wiped out. Now there is this need for, what do they say, the mother of invention is necessity. And so that is essentially what the Renaissance period was. It was new thinking, new philosophies, new art, new science, new ways of collaborating, new ways of commerce, connect these dots of culture, like I said, commerce. We're talking about societies and how we were looked as, okay, you can give birth, you can participate in society. For those who can give birth, for those of us, it's because we have this thing called a menstrual period and a reproductive system in which we are cast aside when it's convenient, but prompted up when it isn't. So it's a matter of being able to have a collective place. To find resources, to destigmatize conversations, uncensored, unfiltered, rebellious way of saying, fuck the patriarchy. We are sitting here and bleeding, and we're not going to do it with a smile on our face. We're going to get what we need. That's the energy or birth of the Renaissance period. So it's a platform where everyone can find products or resources. It's when you were talking about, hey guys, don't click out, and hopefully you're still stuck around. So for the ears that have stuck around, this is what we mean. This is not oh, woe is me. This is not oh, screw you, you don't deal with this. This is, we bleed so that we can birth nations. You eat and you live with privilege, yet you do not want to support us. Whereas if you don't support us, you can see how societies, economies fail. It's one of the easiest, most tangible things to connect the dots. And girls who bleed. Those who identify as, I bleed, but don't have anywhere to be able to get medical resources, to get education on what's going on. So for those that are in societies where they're told to go to a room during their cycle and do not come out and do not touch another man and do not prepare food, and you cannot be in the same temple. What happens if that person can't work, help, produce, or that person cannot participate within the realm of society where they're just shunned for whatever time? Then don't you think that would be lacking? This is the conversation that we're talking about from a macro level, micro level. But what if this was the case of an entire corporation says, we're going to turn a blind eye. We're not going to, who cares about HRT? Who cares about tampons being in the bathroom? Yeah, you're going to change your tune when you realize these are the same people you claim shouldn't be empowered. Reframe. I don't need to punch 9 to 5. I can work 11 to 7. Look at this a little bit differently. Look at how this is not just a me problem. This is an everyone issue. This is something that this is an us problem. This is something that needs to be addressed. That's just one topic that we could touch. This could certainly go beyond, from cultural perspective, religious perspective, political perspective. it touches. And that's what the Renaissance period is. This is what we're opening up, that we're opening conversations and forums in the communities for us to be able to not just find, okay, what is the best tampon for, but it is, you need to know if you were to move to, let's say, this state, that they have laws against X, or you don't have access to healthcare. You won't know when it comes time for, let's say, the gay couple who is going to go adopt a kid and they have a daughter. These
Right.
two individuals have never
Right.
led. Perhaps maybe they haven't gone through a health class during their time when it was discussed, but they now have an individual who has those needs. Where are they going to go? So yes, certainly there is going to be going to the pediatrician, then it will be certainly having conversations with other medical, but there is certainly way more options that are available that people don't know about when it comes to how you bleed, how you take care of your pain, how you actually, when you're talking about you going through menopause, me suggesting things, but a lot of that stuff could be old herbal remedies we didn't know about. It wasn't passed down through generations because these aren't topics people wanted to talk about.
Let's put a pin there. We decided to create a hereditary flow journal for the mother and daughter that helps the mother document issues she's had with her period, things she's heard from her mother, and pass it down, creating communication within the women in that family that, hey, this is probably even hereditary issues can pass down. From what provoked me, like with the Renaissance period, is with you, is that I was going through menopause, early menopause, perimenopause, whatever you want to call it. I'm currently going through that, and I'm dealing with vertigo, along with all of the other symptoms that come with hot flashes, mood swings, you name it, like whatever, however many symptoms they got, I got them all.
Yeah.
And like I'm hot right now, and it can be so, like right now I'm hot. 2 seconds later, I'll be freezing cold.
Freezing,
pulling a blanket over me. When I went back to my mom and my sisters, none of them have dealt with the things that I am dealing with.
Yeah.
And even my oldest sister, she was like, I've never felt any of that. She's a year and a half older than me. She has felt none of these things, but she was like, but if I did, I wouldn't know what it was.
Brushed it off.
Black women are known for this strong Black woman, push through the healthcare system. Really, when we complain, I was one of them. It took me 3 years before I went to the doctor because it started in Ghana. I want a doctor in Ghana to correct me, but there is no healthcare provision for women. Resources, all of their drinks, their herbal drinks, their soda pops, it all helps to the man to have a hard dick.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to have those kind of conversations too.
Yeah.
This broadcast. But the penis goes inside a vagina, but there's no healthcare. When I was dealing with just simple menstrual cramps, there's nothing in the pharmacies that's like, when I go in, I need something for a period cramp. They look at me like I'm stupid. I have to take their brand of Tylenol, what their brand of ibuprofen is. In America, I'm using specific medicines for women cramping on their period. But you can't easily find it in Ghana. My hairdresser was in so much pain she couldn't stand. I asked her, what do you take for that?
Yeah.
I was like, great, I can talk to a Ghanaian woman and she can direct me. She goes, I just push through it. I don't take anything. I drink tea. A man can get some herbal drink, even beer. It's patriarchal. The man needs to take care of the woman better because the woman birthed that man.
Yeah. There's an inherent danger of what we're talking about, the push through. Now, there's no judgment because it is considered a good source of character.
I got enough.
You can, but there is this false, because what ends up happening is you yourself, you said it took you so long before you even took yourself to the doctor, because you yourself could be thinking like either, oh, it's nothing, or you could have exacerbated it and it was like, oh, going through your head.
I'm a healer, so I'm going to try to find something to heal.
That's it. I have to push through. But you end up doing more damage to yourself by continuing to believe that's strength or character. It's not. You're not weak if you identify something and want to investigate it, but you have to push through and be strong. Is I suffered long. I come off as the angry Black woman.
Yes.
I come off not just the strong, because it would go past that. Okay, I can't endure this pain, but I'm not sitting here and gaslight. I know something is wrong. You will listen to me. And what then there's a switch. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I will share a couple of anecdotes. I will share how, just the same as Serena Williams explaining how she almost died because they were not listening to her. They were not taking her seriously. And it took her white husband, and I will get back to that in why I'm making that comment, why I'm specifying his race, because it's not about that. It is about simply the fact that she had to have an advocate in the room. If they had just listened to her thinking, oh, this strong Black woman, or your pain is, just shut up, you can handle it. No, these are different things. This image of what you can endure versus the right to advocate, the right to say, I am in pain. I had that happen to me in the UK, where I legitimately could not believe that my words did not matter. And it took my white husband having to stand on my behalf and yell at someone to see me, to have me be seen. And so that is a privilege that we share in the terms of we happen to have had those voices had to be, but it's fucked up that we had to be those, that those had to be our advocates, that our word wasn't held.
I want to ask Renee about the strong Black woman syndrome. When we're going through pain, we don't verbalize, we just push through. Do you think it's our fault because we don't? For those of us who never really spoke up about our pain, do you think it's our fault that the healthcare system ignores that the doctor?
No, we don't have enough time to even go and pull out like the data. You're just going to have to go to the Renaissance period, and it's a systemic issue. We understand that we have not had autonomy over our bodies since the separation of male and female genders. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even exploring what happens where we have now, I'm going to say this, I'm going to choose my words wisely, because I want this to be understood. We have been so binary for so long that the fact that, yes, there are multiple genders, there are multiple ways that people can identify. We are humans, but we evolve. Some issues are not from just the genetic or the natural, like the organic, the bio function. It is man-made. We have created these, is a systemic issue that we are still suffering at the hands of. Why? There is absolutely no reason why in a 30-minute window in the US, I can see an advert for erectile dysfunction or for however many adverts, but how many adverts will I see a woman actually with blood on her tampon, or there being advert that shows that we understand that women are going through multiple changes throughout their lives. This isn't just puberty. We go through multiple changes. And it's ignored simply because it's not understood, because it's been underfunded. It hasn't been researched. It has just been, get back to the kitchen.
Go birth babies.
It's a systemic issue. It's about how we look at this, what's in our textbooks, media, how we talk to each other. I remember having to hide the tampon in my pocket when I was going to go to the bathroom. Now, fortunate for me, I've had my uterus removed last year, so I don't worry about bleeding. Recently, I did an experiment. You'd be happy to hear this. Whilst I don't have to worry about that anymore, I am now where I can walk down an airplane to the bathroom with my pad in my hand and going, I'm about to go change my pad. Like, what of it? A couple of weeks ago on a flight, I asked the stewardess, by the way, do you have a tampon? And she looked and she was like, oh, wait. Oh, do you need one? I was just asking, do you have a tampon? And she said, hold on, let me see. And she goes for her handbag. And I said, I was asking, is there, certainly if I just sliced my finger on the seatbelt, you'd have that first aid kit ready to go. Did you have a tampon that was just available for break in case of emergency? Nay, no. She was going to her own handbag. And then and when it clicked, when she realized what I was asking, and they told me a different airline does provide it, which I thought was interesting. She said, here's the kicker. Why I thought it was funny? When we got into the air, they made the announcement or made a special deal to let us know that our captain was a female. We're sitting up in the air celebrating.
Even the captain.
We shouldn't have to celebrate that anymore. We're celebrating that. Oh, they let a lady fly the plane. And they have a tampon when I asked for one, just in case of emergency. Tell me that ain't systemic. Tell me there isn't something coded in society we're trying to dismantle. We're having conversations about the colonization of our bodies. We can talk about Henrietta. We could talk about all of the different ways where we can say that our bodies have never been our bodies because we have those who do not bleed in government passing laws that then affect those of us. So I'm here for whatever group, whatever leaders think that they are going to show forward thinking. I'm not saying everything has to be disrupted. We're at a stage where it shouldn't be funny that the vice president candidate for the US has been gifted a joke or a name that they seemingly think is a joke because they call him Tampon Tim. Because he was the governor who decided he was putting free tampons in public schools. I'm calling you Tampon Tim. I'm riding with you. Whether that is going to be the party of change, what I am saying is it takes those type of individuals. It takes those type of allies. It takes a man who had to say, okay, we need to help turn these tides. We need to show that talking about generational education is not taboo. This is natural. We need dads and moms to talk to boys so you don't have what they call dusty boys, like boys nobody wants. Your son ain't gonna get a girlfriend. You need to do something to make sure he ain't unattractive. And it's funny because it sounds like it still is coming from this perspective of, yeah, let's make sure we send out this guy or send out this kid to make sure that he's the right type of male for future. But it's not just for his future partner or spouse. It's for his future colleague. It's for his future teacher. It is for his neighbor. It is for anybody that comes in this path in which you should have some freaking empathy and understanding, and it not just be, oh, you're on the rag. Oh, that has nothing to do with me. Oh, she bleeding. Oh, it's her time of the month. No, we should definitely be teaching little boys that we should not be having sexual education classes where the girls go in one room and the boys go in the room. Y'all need to be all together. Learn about these things.
I remember when I was working for the corporate world in the female bathroom, they did not have tampons, but they did have condoms. They were giving out condoms, but they weren't giving out tampons. They weren't giving out pads.
Now you see where I say this is a systemic thing.
Yeah. That just reminded me of that.
What it does, that's where these are.
I should have gone to human resources. We need to speak up more. Not about being an angry Black woman, but standing up for what we need, but the woman that's coming after us, the bleeder that's coming out, because nowadays it's about those who menstruate. How do we get the resources? How do we become aware in Ghana? And watching their news, I don't see any adverse at all for women. I don't see any adverse for women, but as soon I did have to come back to the States for medical care. It took me 3 years to kind of find natural herbal healing that I could work with in Ghana, but I couldn't. So I end up having to come back to the United States. I saw a doctor here for a female issue, menopause, all these things with vertigo. As soon as I touched base in the United States and I pulled them and I was looking on Facebook, the first ad I saw was pills for menopause made for Black women. I didn't search for it. As soon as I landed and I started going through Facebook, the first advert was for Black women on menopause, dealing with perimenopause, all the symptoms. The AIs was listening and they say, hey, let me send her these ads. You think I didn't buy it? I sure did. I bought all my supplies And I want to take it back to Ghana. That doesn't make me want to stay in the United States.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I still want to live in Ghana, but I want to live comfortably. And I just ordered. So that's my thing now. I'm going to come to the States and get all of my medical care and then go back to Ghana. But when I went to see the doctor, this is the thing, and I'm still ordering stuff
Oh,
outside the medical thing.
explore. You have the option to explore, right? It is a privilege and it is something that not everybody is afforded, but that's what I mean is explore what you can and
Yeah.
share with others.
I'll test those, and if it works out, y'all will see on my page.
Exactly.
But when I talked to the nurse, an old white lady, I was explaining to her what my symptoms were and that I needed to get tested to see if I'm going through any type of menopause. She checked, did all the tests, and came back 30, 45 minutes later. She said, "You're just as healthy as a bug. I don't see where you're in pain, but you say you're in pain. So I'm going to give you some Excedrin. I'm going to give you 8 pills for dizziness." I went for vertigo. They only gave me a week's supply for dizziness, but they gave me a 30-day supply of Excedrin. Excedrin makes me sick anyway, so I'm not going to take that. And then they gave me something for nausea and vomiting. She was listening for key words of what can I treat as a symptom, but I don't have time to go into detail. So take these pills.
It's showing now, but it doesn't mean it doesn't. Yeah.
And then she said, "We'll schedule a CT scan for you to make sure your head is okay."
Yeah.
The CT scan is scheduled for 2 months later. So obviously I'm not going to die. Just treat the symptoms and come back in 2 months and we'll go further into. I'm like, I'm going to take my menopause pills, go back to what I do.
Go natural.
Find my own solution because I can't get it here.
Or when they go low, we go high.
I'll take my little pills and see if it works. But really, I'm going to find this. But that's what I'm not just going. I can't just sit around.
I get it. You inadvertently led me to another topic. As we're talking about access, cultural divide.
Yeah.
We haven't discussed the part of what I was saying with the Renaissance period, the global aspect. And that was something that was very much key. Yes, like I said, the Renaissance period that you would see on Wikipedia is that started in Florence.
Mm-hmm.
But this Renaissance is about, I want to say, stripping back the boundaries in which where we have, like, we're talking about access, we're talking about research or education.
Yeah.
I am going to always acknowledge the privilege that I have had with this story, but understand that I was still an underdog. I've had surgeries for endometriosis in 3 countries.
Wow.
Okay. So I have had surgeries for endometriosis in 3 different countries.
Yeah.
Okay. Multiple surgeries. So
that's crazy.
Over 10 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand that the story that I tell is not just as when I even evoke, like we're saying, the systemic issues. None of us have asked to come on this earth. We're born to whatever we're born into, environments we're born into. The environment which I was born into, my hair used to be chemically straightened so that I was neat and presentable.
Yes.
Within society. Those chemicals, we're now finding out, Johnson, all these companies that are now having to pay, let's call it medical reparations for the fact that these chemicals have been in our bodies for years. Ovarian cancers in populations of minorities. We're looking at breast cancer and the rates of cosmetics and the correlation between these things. We look at how we beautify ourselves, where our nutrients came from, all of these things that would have affected our health. Because you don't talk about it, the problem keeps getting bigger. So then you look at, how do you dismantle these things? It's not just the body. Where do these issues come? The White House announced how much money that they are going to put into, or how much effort that they're going to put into women's health initiative, and the research, the lack of research. It's not just appalling. it's not a slap in the face. It's majorly like a F you. It's just been centuries of we do not care.
Yeah.
And now they're faced to care. And if
Yeah.
a Black woman does lead that country someday, let's see what changes come out of it. But she still has an uphill battle if she were to even have to lead that initiative or to try to push that initiative forward. Because it's one thing to announce that initiative, but it's another thing to actually act on it and for us to see if these generations that are going to come from behind us, some of us won't ever be able to see it, but there are certainly things that we could be doing now that is just this conversation.
Yes. It's the evolution, right? Starting the conversation now, but my daughter and grandchild may not deal with the same things. Interesting, the White House is putting more thought and research into women's health. Coincidentally, I've been seeing an advert with Holly Berry, Oprah Winfrey, Viola Davis about menopause and RT and what they've been doing. I'm wondering, is that kind of joined together? There's this political issue around it now. So now they're going to give a face to put behind the message.
Well, advocacy has to come in any way you can digest it. So it's either going to be grassroots, door to door, or it's going to be, yes, you've gotten celebrities who clearly are going through the same thing. Because, you know, ain't all of these actresses up in Hollywood just like walking out looking like this. Yeah, those bitches up there sweating too and dealing with the same issues that the rest of us are. Now, what I believe would actually be the rebellion, the global rebellion, the right way, like that we're going to have this true renaissance across the globe in the UK. Women who are nearly being criminalized because they were trying to scrape together and share and steal however they can get their human replacement therapy because there was a shortage or because the government couldn't do fuck all by dealing with capital gains tax and like worried about income wealth. But you got women who are sitting here, as you were saying, you have to wait 2 months for an MRI in the US. I understand you had to wait long. You had a $20,000 bill and still didn't know if anything would happen. That was my story in the US. My story in the UK and Netherlands is different. I've only had to wait 4 months for surgery. My condition was extreme. I ended up coming out with this hysterectomy because my condition turned to adenomyosis. So at this point, my doctor was just asking me, how are you walking around with this uterus? Like, we got to get this sucker out of here. Let's yank this thing out.
Let's switch gears and talk about that the Renaissance period and your experience last year, deciding and choosing that you're going to have the hysterectomy, but what that journey has been like, and how can people follow your journey? When I first met you, Renee, and I read when you told me about the Renaissance period, I was like, gosh, she's so meek and mild, but what you're talking about, you have to be like a rebellious, I don't give a F what men or whoever say about what I'm saying. I'm going to talk about these issues because it's real to me. I was like, what you're talking about and your personality seems different because I can't see you protesting in the street.
I'm an introvert, extrovert. I'm extreme.
So talk about that process for you. Even now, you're having to be the leader.
Yes, it's a systemic issue we're trying to dismantle. People pinpoint health and biology. No. I just got a news alert. Arnold lost $13 billion in a day from markets in Asia. These alerts are coming up. And I think about how when I was in the corporate world, I used to stress over how I was going to get my work done, how I was going to be productive, how I was going to make my money, how I was going to
survive.
It was about my career. It was about me, how I was going to be this professional, how I was going to not survive, but thrive, like how I was going to have my life, my lifestyle, right? Yeah. And so it got to this point where I know I was burning myself out. So yes, I was ill. I was sick as a dog. And I remember having a moment where I was store manager on duty at a luxury retailer in the US. I was so sick. I climbed out of bed, how I got myself to work that day and how I drug myself to just make myself seem like there is nothing wrong. And going on, don't look over here. I'm in my sharp suit, making announcements. I'm checking on staff. I'm going to go do my rounds. and I pass out. And how I don't hit my head on a concrete floor, but I don't know. But I pass out in the store. End up
Wow.
having a colleague help me. I remember thinking, I'm burning out. I have this career, but my body is failing and I don't know what to do. I didn't have a diagnosis. The doctor that I had at the time, coincidentally, under the insurance of that company, told me that, no, you're not, you're fine. You're just having too much rough sex.
A
Misdiagnosed me.
friend told you
And
that.
that's a tangent for a different day. But the
Oh,
point of me
it
is saying
sure is. 'Cause
I'm on this whole track about this is my lifestyle. I'm sick, but I don't know what it is. And then when it happened, the way that I had to go out on medical leave, the way that moment happened of me passing out and having this, literally my body, like me coming outside of my body and going, get out now. You need to go take care of yourself. And I
Wow.
stopped. I had to stop my life. I had to stop the career, like this world that I thought, this professional track I was going. And so it
Mhm.
stopped. It was less about me being a professional and more about me on the personal level. Back to
Mhm.
your question. It was these two people, these two worlds. So in the professional life, a lot of people didn't know what I was going through. I was 19 on menopausal drugs for my period. They put me on menopausal drugs at 19. I had a career in which not everybody knew. Like I had this outward appearance that seemed like everything was fine. Only certain people knew and certain people were helping me along with that. But when I had to drop out, take a year off and figure out what the hell was going on with my body, then I ended up finding a new path, a new career that then
Mhm.
led me to my journey of becoming an expat, to me
Mhm.
finding the purpose that is in my life. And so the way the Renaissance period and the way I'm working with Renaissance Ventures, everything is purpose driven. This is not me looking for my bottom line. This is not looking at the EBITDA. It's not looking at, oh, I need to go and look. Yes, you would have to answer to investors. You'd have to answer to how you operate a business, but the DNA of everything that we are doing is going to be coded in what is the social good? What is the outline of how can this make sure that this is, we're doing something to improve the
Yeah.
things we were suffering, the very things I had to deal with. No one else should have to be dealing with these
Right.
issues.
Right.
No one should have to be choosing a career over they have to sit in bed all day and bleed for 11 days straight, because that's what happened to me. I had to quit
Wow.
a job because one day I was in bed and next thing I know, it was 11 days. I had to quit that job.
Gosh. My goodness.
So you find purpose and path
Yeah.
comes out from what ends up being the way that you manage your life and the way you manage your peers. Now, gratefully, the next job afforded me the opportunity to find a doctor who gave me the correct diagnosis and set me on the path that I then at least had a little bit of cheat codes to understand. But no longer did I start living a life of chasing a paycheck or thinking about money. I have been very fortunate that I have been successful now in my career, but it's all been driven the way that my career has been driven over the last, let's call it 16, 17 years, has been
Yeah.
a me first mentality.
Wow.
Me, my
That's
body,
yeah.
what I can bring to the table. I understand the privilege I've had. Not everybody can. And it took me walking
So,
off the continent of North America to finally do this.
wow. We can go on and about the issues and challenges that we've had as women when it comes to our bodies, when it comes to our health and resources. Renee, thank you for being part of
Thank
the Black
you.
Legends Tour, the family.
Thank you.
Um,
This has been cool
I,
to share.
guys, it's not over now. If please, this conversation, we don't want it to stop here with the conversation now. Please follow Renee, ourrenaissanceperiod.com. In the description box, you'll have all of her contact information. Discord is where we can have those real period talks. Social media monitored and censored in some ways. So there's a lot of things that we can't really say online because they'll shut us down. But you can go to Discord for now.
For now, we've got exciting
Freedom
stuff
Now.
coming up next year.
Our Renaissance period. Now, before the next stop, is literally the last stop of this tour, back in Ghana, the place I've been like trashing. Listen, do some better healthcare stuff. Outside the medical system, Ghana is beautiful. It's a place I built my space of peace. I'll be ending the tour there talking about my book, Your Book is Your Brand. how to take your story, build a business, live life on your terms. And a lot of things that you've been seeing on everything, pretty much you've been seeing on this tour, has been a result of me taking back my life, owning what I want my life to look like. And so building that life, I wrote it down in this book. I wrote all of my secrets, tips. If you don't have a copy, go to blackseedspublishing.com. There's also the ebook. So if you want the ebook quicker, you can do that instantly, so you don't have to wait for shipping, especially those in Ghana. Shipping costs a lot over there.
Yeah.
So get the ebook and you don't have to pay for shipping, and you get immediate access to the same information. I have templates on how to do your podcast. There's free stuff to help build your brand, build your legacy. Because when you write your story in a book, it never goes away. It becomes a legacy, and people go back to it even when you're gone. That's the most important thing, is leaving something to say, I was here, I mattered, my story mattered. I'm going to teach it to generations to come. See you next week in Ghana. Thank you for being a part of the Black Legend Tour. Don't forget to play the Global Flow Chronicles game. Roxy is hosting, and you can win prizes. Go to the virtual game room on the tours page, blackseedspublishing.com. All of the stuff is in the description of this video. Thank you for joining us. Love you guys. See you next week.
Y'all, I think we can all agree that was a powerful conversation. Thank you, Renee Waters, for sharing your insights and for being such a fierce advocate for women's health and empowerment. We need these conversations now more than ever. And your platform, The Renaissance Period, is such a light for so many women around the world. From tackling the healthcare system to breaking generational stigmas, today's session is a reminder that our health journeys deserve to be heard, respected, and empowered. Let's continue these conversations in our communities and keep advocating for each other. Next up, we're heading to Ghana on November 9th, where we'll be celebrating the power of storytelling and honoring U.S. veterans. You won't want to miss this final stop on the tour, where we're closing out with the theme, Your Legacy in Print. Until then, keep speaking your truth, and remember, your health, your voice, and your story matter.